Indian aluminium industry is facing extremely tough times with increasing imports, falling aluminium prices and rising production costs. It is further crippled with declining market share of domestic producers and underutilized production capacities. To talk more on this, today we have with us Mr. Satish Pai, Vice President, Aluminium Association of India and Deputy Managing Director, Hindalco. Thank you for joining us, sir. Sir, the aluminium industry is currently going through a lot of volatility. Tell us more about it and how do you think it is affecting the sector these days?
So, as you said, all the metals and commodity sector is highly volatile right now. And in the non-ferrous metal side, aluminium prices and LME has been quite weak and at the same time quite volatile. So, what has happened in our industry is that over the last probably 16 months, prices of aluminium have dropped more than 30%. So that has put a lot of pressure on the domestic industry. Now, combined with the drop in prices, what we have seen is a huge surge in imports, especially of primary aluminium. And it is amazing that more than half the aluminium that's used in India is actually being imported right now. And it's coming in from the Middle East and China, where the governments are doing what they can to provide cheaper power and subsidies to keep that industry alive. So our problem in India right now is that our cost of production has gone up. Some or large part of it is due to energy prices and coal prices going up, as well as logistics being quite expensive in India. So these two have made the price of aluminium high in India. So our problem is that the top line prices are coming down, our cost of production is quite high, so it puts a lot of pressure on the aluminium industry.
So when do you say the production cost has gone up? We had the coal block auctions and the Coal India's production has also gone up. How do you think it has helped the sector per se?
It is fair to say that the coal scenario in India is a complete sea change from 12 months ago, in the sense that there is abundant coal available today. So quite a few things have happened. As you said, the coal blocks that were deallocated got auctioned. But I think more important for us, what has happened is that the pressure and the push from the government to increase coal production, and I think the quite stellar performance of Coal India last year means that there is abundant coal in the market. So that has certainly helped the industry a lot, because if coal prices had gone further up, we would have really been in deep trouble. Whereas coal prices have held reasonable levels, coal production has been plentiful. So that's why it has certainly helped the industry. So the coal situation in India is much brighter than 1 year ago.
So when you talk about high energy prices, what exactly is the major concern right now?
So our problem is that international prices of coal have collapsed. So Indian prices of coal today at the pit head are one of the most expensive. And why is that? Actually, if you take a ton of coal and you say whether it's 2006 or 3,000 rupees, half of it comes from various cesses, taxes. So this is really our issue as to the huge amount. As I want to talk in particular about the green energy cess. It used to be 200 rupees a ton. This budget, it went up to 400 rupees a ton. And that's quite a big burden. It's 2,400 rupees a ton on every aluminium ton that we sell. Now let's look at renewable power obligations. So that is another thing that's costing us about 3,000 rupees a ton. So various cesses, various obligations on renewable power, the district mineral fund that was increased, entry tax levied by different state governments. This whole basket of taxes is actually adding to the price of coal. In fact, it's doubling the price of coal. And then when you look at coal price on the pit head in India, it's the most expensive in the world today. Whereas I think that with the amount of coal we have in India, energy prices, we can be probably one of the cheapest in the world.
Talking about Hindalco, which you also represent, how many blocks did the company win in the recent auctions?
So the recent auctions means it's more than a year ago now. So quite a while ago. So we won 4 mines, 2 in the Chhattisgarh, which was the Gare Palma 4x4 and 4x5, and 2 in Jharkhand, which was Kathotia and Dumri.
And how many have started production?
So we have started production in the two Garipalma mines. Both are running now. It took us nearly a year to get the mine started with various clearances, which we had to sort out. But both the Garipalmas are running. In Jharkhand, as you know, there is a larger issue of getting forest land cleared, which if you had read, I think even I have read in the press that the government is soon going to come out and resolve that issue. And then we hope the mines in Jharkhand can start as well.
Over quite some time, the LME prices have been volatile. Do you think the prices will stabilize going ahead, or do you see the same trend continuing for some time now?
You know, the LME prices today, or I would try to say that any commodity price today is quite heavily dependent on two things. One is what happens to the US dollar and what does the Fed do with the interest rates. And on the other side, what happens to Chinese supply and demand of that commodity. So, for example, aluminium, uh, primary aluminium production in the world is around 57 million tons, and the consumption with scrap is around 70 million tons. 33 million tons of primary production happens in China. So, half the production or half the consumption of aluminium in the world, production is in China. So, if Chinese economy, as you have seen in the last year, has slowed down, the demand for aluminium in China has slowed down. What that means is there's a overhang, there's more capacity of aluminium, which then will come out into the export market. So that is one of the contributing factors that's holding the price of LME down. On the other side, for the financing, if US dollar interest rates go up, then financing becomes not that attractive. So hence that has has an impact on the premiums and the LME as well. So these two factors actually drive not just, I think, aluminium, but most commodity prices these days. What's happening in China and what's happening to the dollar.
How do you see China's slowdown affecting the Indian market?
It will impact the Indian market in the sense that, India is, produces a lot of steel, produces a lot of aluminium, copper, and all these will get impacted. So some part of the Indian metals manufacturing will get impacted. But on the flip side, quite a lot of downstream consumers will benefit because cheaper Chinese products will be available. I guess from the Aluminium Association side, it's not good news for us.
Expansion in many aluminium companies, including that of Hindalcos, that was held back due to unavailability of coal and other issues. And with the auctions coming up now and with the coal production increasing, do you think the expansion plans are back on the table now?
I think that, Hindalco has now reached its full capacity. Both our new smelters, Aditya Mahan, are fully operational. And as you may have read in the press, even Vedanta is expanding it. So I think that it would be fair to say that there will be no idle capacity because of lack of coal. There could be market reasons, LME reasons why you would not use your capacity. But you can't say that you're not bringing your capacity online because you're short of coal, because there is plenty of coal available today.
Talking about green cess, how is it affecting the sector in terms of money and prices?
Monetary terms. So very simple, you need 12 tons of coal for 1 ton of aluminium. So if you increase the green cess from 200 to 400, so 200 rupees more, so 12 tons of coal into 200, 2,400 rupees per ton of aluminium, you have increased the cost at one shot. So that's the straight impact.
But then you also have passed through to the consumers when it comes to the prices of aluminium.
No, the pass through the cost to consumers, this is where it comes in, because as the price of Indian cost of production of Indian producers goes up, China and Middle East, their cost does not go up, right? So they can sell the aluminium at this lower LME prices and still make money, whereas Indian aluminium producers, I think, have been losing money on aluminium for the last 7 quarters up to the 31st of December 2015, because the cost of production and the selling price has not matched.
Have you made any representations to the government regarding the cess and the duties?
Absolutely. I think that, we have been making various representations to the government. The government has taken cognizance. That's why they increased the duty to 2.5% from 5 to 7.5. But unfortunately, the green cess wiped that out. We have now represented on safeguard, which the government is actively considering. After that, we have filed for anti-dumping on foil, which is a downstream product. We will also take up the process of countervailing duties as well. So the various measures that are available, we as the via the Aluminium Association, we are going to try to take the steps to see that whatever we can do to protect the aluminium industry, because India has the fifth largest bauxite reserves in the world. We are one of the largest coal reserves in the world. So we should be an aluminium superpower. And aluminium is the metal of the future. So, cars, multi-storied buildings, everything. So India is growing aluminium consumption at 11% year on year. So I think that it's important that the aluminium industry is protected.
When we talk about demand, real estate has slowed down, although automobile has picked up a bit. Do you think that demand will grow going ahead, or do you think that it will stabilize at the current levels?
We will, because 40% of Indian aluminium demand comes from the power sector. And the government is really expanding power lines, grids. So the demand for aluminium is very strong, driven by the power sector. The second biggest demand for us is coming from the, not from the automobile side, but from the packaging side. I don't know if you have noticed at home now, everything, all this semi-rigid packaging, uh, all your pressure cookers, everything is made from aluminium. So on the packaging side as well, the demand is very strong. And I think on the construction side, I don't know about housing starts slowing down, but every multi-storied building you see coming up anywhere has got aluminium facades now. So there is still quite a strong demand. On the automotive side, it's actually coming from the rail and the truck division. Most truck bodies are shifting more and more to aluminium. And we are hoping that the railways considers for its wagons and its coaches aluminium. Because what it means is that you can carry 15% more on the same line. Because aluminium is lighter and as strong as steel.
You said demand from power is around 40%, and there is a lot of push for renewable energy. So is there a chance that the demand from that sector will grow going ahead?
You see, all your solar cells actually have got aluminium on them. So even on the renewable side, or whether when you're using your wind turbines, I don't know if you look at fans or wind turbines, most of those are aluminium again. So for us, any form of energy that's being used, I think aluminium does fine.
So the government is talking about 100 gigawatt solar power and wind power. So going ahead, do you think that there will be a big demand from the sector?
It is, and I think that, I expect that if Indian economy grows at the 7 to 8 or 9% that the government wants, easily aluminium demand should be between 9 and 11%. So today, India is the fastest growing country in the world for aluminium. China used to be the largest, now it's India. Though the scale is different. We consume 3 million tons, they consume something like 40 million.
When you say demand will grow to 9 to 11%, is it only for power sector or overall demand you're talking about?
No, that's overall. That's overall. I don't have the numbers directly, but 40% of it is power. So it's safe to say that more than half that demand growth is coming from power.
Do you sense that somewhere steel has got more traction from the government when it comes to duties and other helps, and aluminium has been left behind somewhere?
Yeah, I think that we are the younger brother to steel there, but steel is a much larger business, been there for much longer time. So this is the job of the Aluminium Association. So in the last year, we have made various representations. We have been going around explaining about the aluminium business, the aluminium industry, the fact that it's a metal of the future. So I think that more and more an awareness is growing now within the government, within the media as well, that aluminium is the metal to watch for the future. So you're right, we have not got as much visibility as steel has, but I hope that going forward, aluminium will get it.
The government will now shortly come up with the coal linkage auctions. So now you see that it will help the sector in solving the issues with coal and other fuels.
I think it's very important because, take a company like Hindalco, we use 16 million tons of coal. Even if we have our own mines, that gives me about 4. So I've got still 12 million tons that I need on a consistent basis. So we have some old linkages which will go away. So a linkage auction is a very important part of an overall coal strategy. So we are certainly hoping that the government will allocate, just like they did during the coal mine auction, adequate quantity of coal to the aluminium sector?
Today we had with us Mr. Satish Pai, Vice President, Aluminium Association of India and the Deputy Managing Director of Hindalco. Stay tuned for more interviews. We'll come back soon. Thank you.